to where you are. In my heart, fate has brought us together. We will never be apart, and our love bring echoes to my life. Forever I will sing in my heart. Fate has brought us together. We will never be apart, and our love bring echoes to my life. Take my hand and comfort me. Every word so sweet and merry. Together we will reach our dreams, you and me, until the end. In my heart, fate has brought us together. We will never be apart. Never, never be
I'm so glad to sing my heart out for you today in every special way.
You satisfy my heart, no longer fear the dark, for you are with me all to bear.
Fix my eyes on you in my darkest night. You gave me light and held me tight.
My deepest prayer is to have you by my side, a hero to guide me through my life. Even if time slows me to run, bringing me
ka rin. Ang sabi mo sa'kin, niligayan ba ang puso ko kung wala ka? Mahal kita at kahit weird ka man, at kung minsay di maintindihan pag-uugali mo may di maipinta, ngunit mahal kita. Ganito pala ang pag-ibig, ganito pala ang pag-ibig. Kakayanin anong masakit. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit magunaw ang mundo, maaasahan mong mananatiling tapat sa'yo. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit ipagtabuyan mo, ako'y iyong iyo, ako'y iyong iyo. Pwede ba ako'y bigyang pansin at kung minsay ako'y iyong dinggin, mas ka-holding hands mo pa ang cellphone mong walang kamay. Di mo man batid ang efforts kong, ngunit kung kailangan mo, nandito lang naghihintay sa'yo. Tag-ulan man tag-bagyo, ganito pala ang pag-ibig. Kakayanin anong pasakit. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit magunaw ang mundo, maaasahan mong mananatiling tapat sa'yo. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit ipagtabuyan mo, ako'y iyong iyo, ako'y iyong iyo. Huwag mo nang baguhin iyong pag-uugali, baka lumala. Mahal naman kita kahit trip mo akong binabatukan, magaspang matapang, mahapdain yung pag-uugali. But deep inside I know, sa akin umiibig. Ang dapat mo lang malaman ay kay regalo mula kay bathala, nag-uumapaw sa aking puso, ligaya at tuwa. Kumbaga sa awitin ng aking kapatid na si Bruno Mars, girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. Ganito pala ang pag-ibig, ganito pala ang pag-ibig. Kakayanin anong pasakit. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit mangkunaw ang mundo, maaasahan mong mananatiling tapat sa'yo. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit ipagtabuyan mo, ako'y iyong iyo, ako'y iyong iyo. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit magunaw ang mundo, maaasahan mong mananatiling tapat sa'yo. Mahal kita, alam mo, kahit ipagtabuyan mo, ako'y iyong iyo, ako'y iyong iyo. Ako'y iyong iyo. Ako'y iyong iyo. hapong nagdaan. Huwag nang ipilit at magdahilan. Ika'y daraan at malilimutan. Ika'y daraan at di na masasaktan. Ika'y daraan at limot ko na ang pasakit at saya kung kasama ka. Ako'y maghihintay at iibig muli. Di ko man patanaw, umaasa pa rin sa iyong pagdating. Kabiyak ng puso, inaalay sa'yo itong awitin ko. Panginoon, dinggin mo panalangin ko. Alam mo ang hiling ng puso. Gaway mo kailangan ko. Panginoon, gawin mong wagas ang pag-ibig ko. Ninanais makapiling, karapat-dapat na ibigin. Ako'y naghihintay at iibig muli. Di ko man patanaw, umaasa pa rin sa iyong pagdating. Kabiyak ng puso, inaalay sa'yo itong awitin ko. Ako'y maghihintay at iibig muli. Di ko man patanaw, umaasa pa rin sa iyong pagdating. Kabiyak ng puso, inaalay
Alright everyone, hello everyone. This is Teacher Lenjun and I am going to have a songwriting workshop seminar today. So this video is shot Saturday, that is September 17, 2002. And this live video is karon Monday. So September 19, 2022. So i-shot mo earlier for me to have a clearer view. Basig na yung mga technical difficulties due to live stream, but now gisut no daan ahead ang workshop. And this day also na ako workshop for the churches bandmates sa mga kids sa church nga mo play sa praise and worship team. So gituyo na oron for me also nga na ako dry run for the said workshop. Alright, so see you in a bit. Padaw na ko sa simbahan. See you. Alright, so welcome to my songwriting workshop. I am Teacher Lenjun and I am here to teach you about the basics of songwriting. Alright, so let's start. The question here is, why did I choose this topic? Kaya nga ito magpipiling songwriting nga ito ang topic karon. How about other topics, no? So I have 3 reasons why I choose this topic. The first one is I love music. Okay? Ganahan kayo music. So, ever since starting from high school siguro or grade 6, na ako yung mga humming-hummings, and I have my favorite songs, list of favorite songs, including mga anime songs, mga intro anime songs, appeal na. That's why I really love music, and one of my passion is to play and to create music. So, the second one will be the desire to understand the music that I heard. Okay? Dahil natadungan yung mga kanta, o kasabot o unsa, I want to understand deeper how it gigama siya, nagama siya, the reason behind, and why nga ang lyrics, grabe kanindot, why ang music, grabe kanindot, why ang instrumental, grabe kanindot. So I want to understand deeper on how the music was created. Then the third one is for my consumption, right? I want to create, I want to imitate, I want to create music na nindot kayo pleasing for ears, and I want to communicate to people kung unsay message ng hatag nila, inspirational message through music. Words cannot really speak siguro, di ko makastorya dayon, but the music nga atong release for my consumption and the rest of all the people na gusto makadungog is nindot na kayo for me, no? So one of my desire is to play or apis sa mga pangandoy o damgo nga madunggan sa mga tao ang music nga akong gigama. So that is why I choose this topic, songwriting. And now there are 4 key elements in songwriting. So, upat na buok na elemento nga ngayon natong timan-an in songwriting. Alright? We have here, the song must be memorable. Kinahanglan nga yung kanta, dali masag-o, dali makuha, dali maka-LSS. So, LSS means last song syndrome sa mga tao na minaw, na I hope, okay, kanang mabalik-balik silang nahuna, even muham sila or even the beat nga makuha nila, that is making the music memorable. How much more kung nindot kayo ang lyrics. So nindot kayo, the song is memorable, the song has meaning, dili lang siya basta balang nga kanta, but the song is na ay message nga gi-imply nimo, gihatag nimo sa katawhan. Second one is must have immediate appeal. Kinahanglan nga dayon na asay appeal sa mga katawhan nga naminaw. Dili kay mo nakalahi sa okay songs ug nindot nga songs. So ang okay songs, okay ra na siya. Okay ang kanta. Okay ang kanta. Pero ang nindot nga songs, balik-balik na siya. Na-touch na appeal to those who listen. Okay? Muna nga itong target. So the song must be memorable. The song must have an appeal. Okay? The third one, the lyrics must have a recognizable theme. Kinahalan niya, ang lyrics mo inline sa tema nga maghatag nila. For example, praise and worship. Dili pwede nga mogamit kag lyrics nga all about brotherly love, kanang love nga in opposite sex, no? Dili pwede na. So dili kailangan nga ang theme in line with the music nga imong gigama. So love, praise and worship, or any music nga imong inline na. I hope you get the point that it must have a recognizable theme. Okay? The fourth one must be equally well written. Kailangan nga ang pag-layout niya all the way through nindot kayo. Start from the lyrics, the intro, the music, the instrumental, and the hook nga imong gihatag, recognizable siya o well written. Now, let's go to the Philpop Digicam point.
How do we write a song? Well, first of all, what is a song? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a short musical composition of words and music. According naman sa Cambridge Dictionary, a usually short piece of music with words that are sung. Based on this definition, allow me to share with you one of the many ways to compose and write a song. This is primarily my songwriting process and pretty much the same template a lot of my industry colleagues use. Well, here we go. First of all, i-share ko sa inyo yung isang super simple na songwriting flowchart na I came up with. For me to be able to start the process, concept is vital. Kaya number 1 siya dun sa flowchart eh. This is where the entire song will revolve around. A concept could be musical, melody, or lyrical, words. Once the union is first reached, I strongly suggest we don't stop there. Kasi unang pagdikit pa lang yun eh. Yung next phase eh, as important as the union, if not more important. Revise and rework. This is the process where we perfect our lyrics to match the music and our music to match the lyrics. Kumbaga, working on the marriage to arrive at a good relationship between the two. Once you've reached the so-called perfect marriage, then voila, your song is done. Now, how do we compose or how do we develop the melody, the music part of the songwriting? Di ba, meron tayong music, meron tayong lyrics. Music muna tayo. How do we come up with melodies? Well, kailangan ng note progression, a sequence of notes that make up a tune. Then, lagyan natin ng tempo, whether upbeat, downbeat, syncopation, or in-betweens. Tapos, pag nakabuo tayo ng ilang set of melodies, pwede natin iset yon as one pattern. And then, gawa pa tayo ng isa at ilan pa. At pag nakagawa na tayo ng marami, pwede natin i-classify siya as verse, bridge, refrain, chorus, or coda. Let's talk about melodic motions. Dalawa lang yan actually. Conjunct motion or disjunct motion. Okay, conjunct motion muna tayo. A melodic motion in which interval between any two consecutive pitches is no more than a step or less strictly where skips are rare is called stepwise. Yan, kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay step conjunct motion. Kapag naman nag-skip, ito ay disjunct motion. Any larger interval is called a skip. Also called a leap. Ito ay characterized by frequent skips. Maraming beses siyang tumatalon-talon. In a diatonic scale. Alam niyo yung diatonic scale, di ba? 5 whole steps, whole tones, and 2 half steps, semitones in each octave. A step is either a minor second, sometimes also called half step, or a major second, sometimes also called a whole step. Okay, with all intervals of a minor third or larger being skips. For example, C to D. Yan, major second yan. Step ang tawag dyan. Pero pag C to E, major third na yan. Therefore, yes, tama kayo. Skip na yan. Kung may motions, meron ding movements. Ito naman yung yan. Pag gumanyan ako, malalaman nyo ang ibig sabihin ng ganyan. Yan. Ascending pattern. First movement. Kapag may isang melodya kayo, isang string, iaangat nyo siya ng susunod, ascending pattern yan. Hindi yung mismong melody, kundi yung buong slab na yon, isang string na yon, itataas nyo sa susunod at itataas nyo pa. Ascending pattern yan. Kunwari, yung verse ng Kastilyong Buhangin.
Ang isang pangako'y matihambing sa isang kastilyong buhangin. Sakdal, rupok at huwag di masaling, guguho sa ihip ng hangin.
O yung chorus ng Ako Ay Pilipino.
Sa bayang lungkot bandila, laan buhay ko't diwa. Ako'y Pilipino, Pilipinong totoo.
Yung verse ng When the Party is Over. O yung verse ng How Deep Is Your Love.
Know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, then you softly leave. And it's me you need to share.
Siyempre, kung may ascending, merong descending. You are the love of my life. Yung verse niya.
You are the love of my life. I knew it right from the start. The moment I looked at you, you found a place in my heart.
Yung chorus ng Bawal na Gamot. Yung refrain ng Never Gonna Let You Go. Chorus ng Sorry Na Pwede Ba. Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Fly Me to the Moon. Yan. At kung kombinasyon ng dalawa na yon, may ascending, may descending, yun yung pangatlo. Undulating. Combination of both. At yung pang-apat, repetition. Yun yung inuulit yung buong line na yon. Kunwari yung linya ng Salamat Musika or yung Imagine. Usually ginagamit ito pagka nagkikwento. Dahil mas importante yung sinasabi kaysa dun sa paglaro ng melodya. Sa lyrics naman tayo ngayon, developing lyrics. Allow me to share with you naman yung mga tips on how to come up with some really good lyric writing techniques. Yan. Number 1, idea is ideal. Mas maganda kung malinaw at nakikita sa title nyo or sa isang linya, sa isang phrase o sa isang sentence, understood na kagad yung nilalaman na inyong kanta. So, importante, identifiable, madaling maintindihan ng lahat. Kapag malinaw ang idea, maganda rin yung title nyo ay unique. Yun yung pangalawa. Title recall. Ito yung name ng inyong produkto. Very important. Kapag forgettable siya, maaring hindi nila bilhin yung kanta nyo or iswipe lang nila sa susunod na kanta. Kung yung title nyo ay boring or common. Siyempre may mga exceptions na wala dun yung title sa lyrics like Bohemian Rhapsody. Pero bihirang-bihira lang yon. Kung maganda ang title, maganda rin malakas ang inyong panimula ng kanta. Interesting song starter. Kung hindi interesado yung tao sa inyong panimula ng kanta, first 15 seconds pa lang, ililipat na nila. Siguro mahina ang inyong panimula ng kanta. Itong mga tips pwede kong ibigay sa inyo para maging interesting ang inyong mga panimula sa kanta. First tip, pwedeng question. Do you know where you're going to?
Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you?
First line pa lang, oy, saan nga ba pupunta? What's it all about? Alfie, do you know the way to San Jose? Yan. Pangalawa, pwedeng greeting. Kumusta ka? Yan. Hello. Yan. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Pangatlo, suggestion or request. Please don't ask me what am I doing. Or don't go changing to try to please me.
Don't go changing to try and please me. You never let me down before.
Hoy, lumapit ka. Yan. Suggestion or request. Pang-apat, time frame. Yan. Si Mr. C mahilig dyan. Hating gabi. Yan. Kasi pag hating gabi, gising pa rin si Mr. C. Or it's 3 in the morning. Or alas 7 na. Yan. Pwedeng time frame. Pang-5, situation. All my bags are packed. Yan.
All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye.
May sitwasyon, di ba? Kitang-kita mo na, imagine mo na kagad. We had the right love at the wrong time.
We had the right love at the wrong time. Guess I always knew inside I wouldn't have you for a long time.
Or nandyan ka na naman. Yan. Malinaw, sitwasyon. Yan. Pang-6, setting. Somewhere over the rainbow. Yan. Okay. Pang-7, provocative statement. I've been alive forever. Or, may sikreto akong sasabihin sa'yo. Or, ewan ko ba kung bakit type kita?
Ewan ko ba kung bakit type kita? Di ka naman gwapo.
Rico Blanco, sabi nga niya, magsinungaling ka please. Provocative statement. Okay, kung matibay ang inyong simula ng kanta, very strong start, dapat kasing tibay o mas malakas pa ang inyong conclusion or climax or ang tawag natin sa pop industry, payoff. You have to draw a conclusion. Make a point. Kailangan maramdaman ng listener na sulit yung kanyang pag-abang ng climax ng inyong kanta. You have to evoke emotional response from the listener. At syempre, importante din yung form. 3 lang naman ang basic structures ng mga kanta in a pop song format. Kunyari, walang chorus at puro verse ang inyong kanta. Ang tawag dyan ay AAA form. Yan. Kadalasan, mga hymns, ganyan. At meron ding pop song naman yung First Time Ever I Saw Your Face ni Roberta Flack. Yan, wala ring wala ring chorus yan. Puro verses lang yan. Kapag may chorus, ang tawag dyan verse-chorus form. Minsan may pre-chorus, minsan may bridge. Karaniwan ng mga kanta ganyan. Gusto mo nang may climb, yun, lagyan natin ng chorus. At pangatlo, parang yung una, AAA form, pero binebreak niya yung monotony, nagkakaroon ng bridge. Ang tawag doon ay AABA form. At ito naman, napaka-importante, viewpoint. Kadalasan nakakalito yung kanta pakinggan kasi nag-iiba yung viewpoint. So linawin natin, yung unang-una, first person. Yung singer, he employs or she employs the I, we, addresses you in the singular, focus on I. Majority ng mga popular lyrics, ganyan, ano? Kasi ito yung pinaka-active at most intimate sa lahat. Ito yung nag-connect, creates the strongest listener identification. Kunwari, you are the sunshine of my life, or ikaw, kailangan kita. Yan ang first person. Siyempre, kung may first person, tama ang hula mo. Second person. Primarily, kung gusto mo magbigay ng advice, ito yon, second person. Yan, kailangan malinaw at universal ang inyong message. Usually communal, non-specific you, found in most gospel or inspirational songs. Kunyari, Climb Every Mountain or You Never Walk Alone. Pero din namang specific you, katulad ng kantang Man Eater. Yan, kung natatandaan nyo ba yung kanta na yun kay Billy Joel din na kanta na Tell Her About It. Ayan ang second person. At syempre, yung pangatlo, tama ka. Third person uses he, she, they, or collective we. The best way to handle subject matter that could put someone in a negative and sympathetic light. Kunwari si Ani Batumbakan. Yan. Kung gusto nyo pagchismias ang isang tao, ay nako, third person ang pwede nyong gamitin. Overall, kailangan hindi ka nawawala. Do not lose track of the viewpoint you are using or else you will confuse your listeners. Tandaan. Okay, let's talk about FOSS or figures of speech. Yan. FOSS tools. Napag-aralan na natin sa literature. So, parang review na lang to. Number 1, simile. Yung gumagamit ng like or ask. Kunyari, like a bridge over troubled water. Yan. Or, Misty, look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten on a tree. Pag walang like or ask, metaphor na ang tawag dyan. Kunyari, Jesus is the rose of Sharon. Yan. You are the sunshine of my life. Jesus is my music. Or siya ang tsoper ng buhay. Metaphor po yan. Personification. Yan, giving non-life subjects with attributes of living things. Example, the trees of the fields will clap. Di ba? Wala naman silang kamay, pero binibigyan mo ng attributes ng ating pagkatao. The trees of the fields will clap. Or my faith looks up to thee. Allusion, an implied or direct reference to literary or historical or biblical person, object, or event. Kunwari yung sa Portrait of My Love, nagbanggit siya ng Michelangelo. Or the Red Sea parted, Moses. Ikaw ang Miss Universe ng buhay ko. Yan. Or ako si Superman. Or yung kantang Langit na naman. Abangan nyo, may binanggit doon na Rio Locsin. Nung kinanta ulit, naging Angel Locsin. Yan. Gagawa yata sila ng version yung pang politician Teddy Locsin naman. Anyway, yun po ang allusion. Idiom, snapshots, exaggerations. Example, you'll never walk alone. Or, kastilyong buhangin. Sakdal rupok at wag di masaling guguho sa ihip ng hangin. Or fly me to the moon. Exaggerations, snapshots, idioms. At panghuli, contrasts. Yun yung differing strikingly. Di ba? Yung night and day. Or amazing grace. Was blind but now I see. Lost and found. Yan po ang contrasts. Songs speak for us. Try to write songs singers would love to sing and people would want to hear. Tandaan nyo po, guidelines, ito pong guidelines na ito are designed to harness your songwriting craft. Not to hamper your creativity, but to give you a framework. So yeah, this is how we write a song. Well, at least that's how I write songs. Coach Junji po at your service. Go out and make songs. Lots and lots of songs. Beautiful songs. God bless everyone.
I'm here today to talk to you about how to start writing a song or how to begin a song. Na alam natin, itong part na to for most songwriters, this can be the hardest part kasi ang dami nating options and we don't know where in the world do we start? How do we start writing a song? So, how do we start? Well, as a career songwriter, meaning somebody who writes songs for different people, for clients, for different artists, I tend to ask myself 3 questions before I actually start writing a song. First is, what is the purpose of the song? Para saan ba yan? Is it something that I am writing to express lang for myself? Or is it for a client? Is there a particular message na gusto nilang lumabas sa song? Is it for a contest? If it's a contest, meron bang theme yung contest? If it's something that a group of people will sing, is it something for a church, or for an organization, or for a company? If it's a company anthem and medyo group singing ang mangyayari, syempre isipin ko kung ano yung vocal range ng mga madlang tao. Who is going to listen to the song? Sino yung market? Bagets ba? Mga matatanda ba? Am I writing for a singer? Am I writing to highlight the vocal range of a belter, for example? Or community singing ba yung song? So pag ganun, kailangan yung vocal range hindi masyadong malaki. It should be easy to recall, easy to sing. So I start with that. What is the purpose of the song? Second, I ask myself, what are the parameters of the song? Meron bang mga limitations? Are there budget constraints? In which case, dapat ba piano and vocal lang siya or piano and guitar? So kung ganon, dapat yung pagkakasulat ng song bagay doon. Or kung may budget, meron bang ano ba, orchestral arrangement ba? So that will decide what kind of song I'm going to write. Or is there a deadline for the song? How much time do I have? And also, is there a time limit to the song? Is it a jingle? Is it a 60-seconder? Is it a full song? So lahat yan, iisipin ko rin muna. The third question I would ask myself is, what kind of song or what structure would I use to write the song given the purpose and the parameters? Would it be a verse-chorus song or a verse-bridge or AABA song? What is the difference between the two? A verse-chorus song, as you all know, has a chorus, which is the part where you usually find the hook. No, yan yung pinaka-memorable part. Madalas, that's where the title is. That's the part that most people end up singing all the time kasi yun ang pinaka-malakas ang recall. So you have verses. Sometimes you have a verse, maybe a pre-chorus, and then a chorus, and then a verse, and maybe a pre-chorus. And sometimes you even have a bridge, no? Para lumipad yung song, naglalagay tayo ng bridge. So the main characteristic of a verse-chorus song is something that is easy to recall. Now, a verse-bridge song, or what they call an AABA, that one, iba naman siya. Meron siyang verse, another verse, and then a bridge, which is not the same as a chorus. It's just a departure from the verse, and then it ends with another verse. And then usually in this structure, yung title, makikita mo siya sa dulo ng bawat verse, not in the bridge. So this kind of structure is usually good for storytelling. So you'll see this in a lot of musicals. So yan, madalas sa mga musicals ang AABA or ang tinatawag na verse-bridge song. But there are also many pop songs that use this kind of structure. So usually I like mapping all of this out, from the purpose to the parameters to figuring out what structure I will use, and then I start writing a song. So, do you start with the music or the lyrics? We all know you can start with either one, but how do you make the decision on which to start with? If you are, let's say, writing a song for a contest that has a theme, or for a client that needs to express, some message, tapos sobrang importante sa kanila yung words, yung slogan, whatever, then it might be a good idea to start with the lyrics first kasi you need to prioritize that, and then it's easier to set that to music after. So if you're going to do the lyrics first, which part do you do first? One option is for you to start with the title. I actually like doing that. I am a title-first songwriter because, I think the title is a very important part of a song. It's like the brand of the song. And for me, starting with the title helps me to kind of focus and pull everything together so that everything is cohesive. So yeah, I like starting with the title. In fact, like Tell the World of His Love was written with the title first because there was a theme, no? Very specific yung hinahanap ng contest. As the Father sent me, so am I sending you. And I wanted to have a title that would summarize the entire theme. So that's one way you can start a lyric. You can start with the title first and build everything shining. So bright, light, sun, stars, Pwede rin yung contrast, darkness, shadows. So you can come up with a word list. A word list is something that is like a very helpful tool, for songwriters when you are creating a lyric and you have a concept. Gawa ka ng word list. List down all these words associated with whatever you're trying to write about. So that's another tip. And you can use a word list as a tool for the lyric writing. Another thing you can start with is the first line. And you can just start with the first line and build everything after in the chronological manner. I've also tried doing that for another theme song contest, which was the Red Cross Songwriting Contest. And the theme at the time was Red Cross as the Power of Humanity. Yan, ganyan. So sabi ko, ano ba yung power of humanity? What's it about? So I was thinking, what's it about? It's all about giving. It's all about trust. It's all about people. It's all about us. It's all about... So ganon ko na sinulat. I actually put in, it's all about this and that. And then the chorus came naturally after I wrote the verses. And so that is another option for you. You can start from the very first line and just see where it goes. Parang you just kind of wing it and bahala na. So just make sure that if you start with first line, make sure it is very strong. The first line of a song is important because you need to grab the attention of your listeners and you need to hold that attention. So first line is another option for you to begin with. Another option is to start with the last line of the song. And this is something I also like doing because when you start with the last line, it's like plotting out your trip. Pag nagpaplano ka ng trip, nauna yung destination, di ba? You know where you're going and then you just plan how you're going to get there. And when you start with the end of the song, then you can almost be sure that you're going to land on solid ground. So you have like a payoff that will be pleasing to the listeners. What is a payoff? A payoff is like a reward, no? Pag merong narinig ang audience na part ng song na pag narinig nila, oh, ganon, or, uy, galing nun. Something that feels like, oh, wow, great, I see what you did there. That's a payoff. A payoff is something that kind of separates the great songs from just the okay songs. So one of the ways that you can ensure a payoff in your song is, if you start with the last line, it's like you land on solid ground. So for example, when I wrote the song, You've Made Me Stronger, I started with the last line. I wanted to end with, You've made me stronger by saying goodbye. Parang, wow, yun. Parang feeling ko powerful statement. And so I wanted that to be the last line. And so I worked it backwards. So like, what rhymes with goodbye? Try, die, my, lie. So I came up with, You've taught me everything from falling in love to letting go of a lie. Yes, you've made me stronger, baby, by saying goodbye. So when you plan it out that way, like, what rhymes with this? Tapos paatras mo gagawin, parang nagiging, you kind of prepare the ears of the listeners to expect something good, like a reward. So that's what happens when you start with the last line and work everything backwards. You can also start with an overall concept and message. So, for example, I experienced writing and collaborating with some other singers during a songwriting camp in Taiwan. And we thought of writing a 5/4 or a 5/8 song, sabi namin. Para maiba, gawa tayo ng song na 5/4, no? So sabi namin, ano yung magiging concept? Meron nagsuggest na, what about like a 5, like the number 5, para kasi 5/8. So gawin natin something to do with number 5. Ano kaya? Like 5, how about 5 seasons? Because normally there are just 4 seasons, right? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. And what if there was like a 5th season? So ano yung 5th season? Yung pagkikita ng dalawang lovers kasi once a year lang sila nakikita, something like that. So that was the concept and we just built the lyric around that concept. So you can start with a concept or maybe you can even have like a word list. So let's say, for example, when I wrote Shine and the concept was, you make me shine. I'm shining on because of you. So shine bright. I wanted the song to have, all these words that have to do with. If you decide to do your music first, then here are some of your options. You can start with your melody first. You can either tinker on the keys or hum a simple melody. You can just choose a random series of notes. You can hum it. Da, 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 da. And then, pwede nyong kulayan yung melody na yon with some chords. So you can da, and then you can prolong some notes and shorten some notes to make it a melody. Da, 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 da. If you change the chords, it will change the color of the melody. So you see, it would be very helpful for you to know a lot of chords if you go about writing songs this way. Pag inuna niyo yung melody, tapos lalagyan niyo ng chords, ayun, maganda yung marami kayong alam na chords para marami siyang kulay, maraming choices, mas maraming pupuntahan yung kanta nyo. Another way to start with music is to go with your chords first. If you're an instrumentalist, you can pick up a guitar or pick up your keys and just strike a chord and be inspired by the sound of the instrument and the sound of the chord itself. Let's say a major chord sounds happier, right? A minor chord sounds sad, like kind of lonely, right? So you just hit a few chords and then lagyan nyo ng palabok and then just go with the flow. You can start humming to it if you feel like inspired by the music. You can vary and change it up, and that's how you do it. You just go with the flow, play your instrument, sing over it, and see where that goes. Another way you can start the music is to start with a groove, like the rhythm. You want it fast, slow. Maybe you can listen to a peg and be inspired by the beat, and then you can see where that goes. I remember writing a song where I wanted something kind of driving, like, something like this. Gusto ko ng parang merong ganong steady rhythm, and I came up with like a melody that was repetitive. So parang ganun, parang repetitive na melody, and then after that, because of that repetitive melody, I came up with the words like I'm in danger, beautiful stranger, when it be over, and it's so senseless. So parang ganon. You can start with some gibberish. Let's say if you have a rhythmic pattern, you can start with just coming up with no sense words, and then you can replace them later on with actual words. So that's another way that you can start with the music. Groove muna, you come up with a melody, and then, just sing some words that maybe don't make sense, and then replace them later with words that do make sense. And finally, another way you can start music is just thinking of the overall sound or the instrumentation of the song that you want. When I joined Philpop in 2012, I remember thinking I wanted a big band sound. Sobrang fan ako ng AMP big band. Sabi ko, gusto ko ng ganon. Gusto ko ng big band. Yung jazzy, swing. I was inspired by yung Alam niyo yung sing, 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 sing. Some jazzy ganon. So I had that in mind. First, it was the overall sound. I thought maybe by Hannah could sing it kasi parang Andrew Sisters, ganon. So that was like the concept, the vision I had of the overall sound. Tapos, yun na yung nag-dictate kung ano yung naging takbo ng music at ano yung naging takbo ng lyrics kasi big time. Sabi ko parang magandang title, yung big time kasi it's a big band and then everything else followed. I tried to listen to some jazz pieces and tried to study the structure of songs like that. So, ang inuna ko nung time na yun ay yung instrumentation and overall sound. And you can do the same with your song. And so, those are your options for beginning your song with music or with lyrics. And I hope this video has been helpful to you. So, go ahead and write your songs.
Hi, this is Mike from BandLab, and in this video we're going to look at how you can compose your own music in BandLab using the included virtual instruments. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description. And if you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. As well as offering many ready-made samples, BandLab allows you to make your own musical compositions using virtual instruments. These include realistic acoustic instrument sounds, plus electronic instruments and synthesized sounds. When you create a new project in BandLab, you'll be presented with a new track screen. Here you can choose to add various types of tracks. To create a virtual instrument track, I click the Instruments button. This creates a new instrument track that's set to the default instrument, grand piano. You can hear how this sounds by clicking on the virtual keyboard. You can also play the sound using your computer's keyboard. If you have a hardware MIDI controller hooked up, you could use that too. We've got a sound, so let's make a chord progression. First, we need a MIDI clip. To create one, I right-click on the instrument track and select Create Region. I then double-click this clip to bring up the MIDI editor. Here we can add notes by double-clicking. I double-click on C3, E3, and G3. This makes a C major chord. I press the spacebar or the play button to play the project back and hear how it sounds. I do the same again to stop playback. I return the playhead to the start of the project using Return or Enter, or by clicking the Go to Beginning button. Currently, our chord only lasts for a half a beat. Let's extend it out to a whole bar. To do this, I drag over the notes of the chord and drag the right-hand edges out to the start of bar 2. Let's hear how this sounds. I could create another chord by adding new notes, or I can duplicate what I've got already. To duplicate MIDI notes or clips in BandLab, select them, then hold Option on Mac or Alt on Windows, and drag them into a new position. I can transpose this chord into a different key by dragging it up or down. You can also use the up or down arrow keys, or use the +1 or -1 buttons. The +12 and -12 buttons transpose the selected MIDI up or down an entire octave. I'm going to move the chord so that the bottom note is on E3, which makes the chord an E major. Then I drag the middle note down a semitone, which makes the chord an E minor. I duplicate this chord and move it down to D3, which makes it a D minor. I then drag the middle note up 2 semitones, making it a D sus4. I'd like this chord to last for 2 bars. I could drag the note's ends out manually like before, but there's a useful shortcut in the form of the legato button. I select the chord and click the legato button. This tells BandLab to extend the notes until the same notes play again, or like in this case, until the end of the clip. To hear how these notes sound on repeat, I activate the cycle button or press C. I like how this sounds, and I'd like to hear how it sounds with a drum beat. To add a drum track, I click the Add Track button, and again select Instruments. This new instrument is again set to the grand piano sound, but I want a drum kit instead. To change the sound, I click the Instrument drop-down menu and set it to Drums, Drum Pads, 808 Kit. With the drum kit, rather than different notes, each key on the keyboard plays a different drum sound. Let's use these drum sounds to make a drum beat. I create a MIDI clip and move it to the start of the project so that it plays at the same time as the piano part. I add claps on the third beat of the first 2 bars. I then put kicks on the first and fourth beat of the first bar, in between the first and second beat of the second bar. I then add closed hi-hats on eighth notes. I want this pattern to play for the whole 4-bar clip, so I duplicate it out, again holding Option on Mac or Alt on Windows. This is cool, but I'd like to hear how it sounds a bit faster. I change the project tempo to 140 beats per minute by double-clicking on it and typing in a new value. I also set the project key to C major. This doesn't affect how it sounds, but it does tell collaborators what key the project is in. And if we were to add any musical loops from BandLab sounds, they'd automatically be transposed to the correct key. Let's make the hi-hat part a little more interesting. I delete the hat on the 4th beat of the 2nd bar. You can delete notes with the delete button or by right-clicking them and selecting delete. I then set the view grid size to 1/32. This allows me to add 30-second notes. I use the zoom in button to take a closer look and fill in the gap with 30-second notes. This gives us a cool little hat roll. We can make it sound a touch more natural by selecting the 2nd and 4th notes and turning their velocity down a little to 81. The velocity value usually controls the volume level of a note, so this change emulates a drummer alternating between harder and softer hits. I like this little flourish, so I copy the notes and use them to replace the final hi-hat note at the end of the 4th bar. I then return the view grid size to Smart. Smart mode bases the grid size on how zoomed in you are. Next, I'd like to add a melody line, but before I do that, I'm going to label my existing tracks to help me keep track of what's going on. To rename a track, I double-click its name and enter a new name. I add a new instrument track, and I set this one to Keyboards, Synth Leads, G-Funk Sign. I'm going to play this part in live using my computer keyboard. I click the record button, then play along. When I'm done, I press the space bar to stop. As you can see, my timing isn't perfect because the notes don't land exactly on the grid. If I want to tighten up my playing, I can select all notes by pressing Command plus A on Mac or Control plus A on Windows, then clicking the Quantize button. This moves all the notes to the nearest line on the grid. I can then go ahead and manually edit any notes that still aren't quite right. With the Snap to Grid icon active, any notes I move will automatically snap to the grid. You can turn this off by clicking it or pressing G. You'll notice that as we play the project back, it's starting to clip the master, indicated by the master meter turning red. This is generally to be avoided, so I'm going to turn each track's volume level down to -3 dB. At this point, I'm going to name the project and save it so that I can come back to it later. You can collaborate on your tracks with other BandLab users, and if you want to export your music to work in another piece of software, there are a couple ways to do it. Right-clicking on a MIDI clip and selecting Export Region gives me two options. I can export as MIDI or export as WAV. Exporting MIDI gives me a file that includes the note data that I can drag into an application to play back using a different instrument. Exporting a WAV will give me the audio data, which retains the sound of the audio but doesn't include the note data. You can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!
Go.
Okay, so my concept is Bisaya, pagdaig. Then I have here 10 words na related sa pagdaig na feeling na. First is pagbayaw or ibayaw ang mga kamot. Then balaan, pagsimba, magkahiusa, pag-awit, pagpasalamat, pagsalig, maglipay, pasidunggan, halad, o paghigugma. Ito, sir. So,
Oh, sa tayo concept mo?
English ba ko ah?
Sige.
Stay and improve.
Sige, tagay ko words.
Sa mga ito, ano ito? So, ang stay and improve. So, ang inunahan ako is patient.
Ano man?
Patience. Kung stay ka, kailangan nagtago ka pasensya.
Sunod.
Then, loyalty.
Sige.
Yung katulo is be positive. Ano ito? Then, humble. Kalima is enjoy your youth. Pinag-importante. Ikatulo naman eh. Sa 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ika-anom is never get disappointed. Diyon, ika-pito. Use your talents or capabilities for the Lord. And then manage your time. Then, sa manipag pronounce niya, no man is an island. Kailangan huwag masahe, huwag mong pabilin. Sa team. Then ang kinalasan, which is crucial and very essential, is unconditional love. Huwag mo stay ka, kailangan na kayo unconditional love.
Dok.
Apa kay when you ang murag daw ang kana ni sir kay kanang murag daw ikaw kay murag nawa ka, so murag ning kuan ka ni Lord na i-renew ka niya, renew my strength, renew my spirit, renew my faith, redirect me to your ways, show me your ways, remind me that I am loved, remind me that I am chosen, remind me that I am yours.
Napo na to no? Diyo ka oy, nindot kayo. Gamikan ta na.
Sir, almost sir, wait.
Ikaw!
Sir!
Ikaw.
Kasi dili found ang title ani ha.
Sige.
Ay sir.
Storya na.
Uy, punik ako. Dapat ginawin yung title.
Yun na.
Found. Lost but now found. At my darkest, you find me. You found me. You're my anchor in the stormy life of mine. You rises me up from my empty space. Thank you for dealing with me eventually, Father. I don't know where I'd be without your love, Lord. You found me at my lowest. Your unfailing love, your greatness, you, Father, is all I need. Thank you, Father, because you found me. Thank you for not leaving me behind. Thank you for being with me through ups and downs.
Okay.
Mga gagamat na sa